Greetings and salutations, Pokemon fans, Pokemon haters, Pokemon neutrals, Pokemon. We are looking at more wonderful, splendid gameplay in this fantastic tournament that is the Smogon Premier League, where the competitive elite premier player duke it out in best of ones. Because, yeah, we sure do love best of ones in this type of games. Anyway, look at this preview. Look at this beautiful team from Eeveon. There's my favorite Pokemon, Cresselia, in here. So this is definitely a good team, right? It's actually pretty intelligent, I would say. Okay, so Volcarona's main stops are what? Heatran and Tyranitar, right? And, well, you know, Tyranitar kind of struggles versus Cresselia. Uh, Even if only just a rock helmet. It doesn't have to be Sunny Day like I usually do, although it's nice for the rest of the team. But I don't think it is Sunny Day on here. And like you have to crunch Cress a couple of times, and then yeah, you kill Cress easily. But you one you get paralyzed, two you get chipped by Rock Helmet and Ice Beam, and suddenly you have a half health Heatran, and then Crest can just Lunar Dance something back to relevance. Then yeah, probably Healing Wish Rachi. Actually, is it? I don't think this Escadrille is Rocks. I think it's Rocks Rachi here. That's what I would expect. And Viridion also among that we don't really see a lot of anymore, but I like Viridion. Like I like its design, I like it as on. I don't think it's particularly good nowadays, but hey, it's actually pretty strong into this if it's Calm Mind. The only problem is that you will have to eat at least two Focus Blast, which is always a bit of a not something you want to do, but if you're a gambling man, Viridion is decent. Because look at this, right? So unless it's Psyshock Latios at +1, you'll speed most of this. And Latios does not do that much damage to this guy when it's at +1. Unless you're like Specs, right? But this sure looks not like Specs Latios. I mean, it could be. Specs Latios you can just chuck onto anything, doesn't really matter, but let's say it's not. I think it's Cold. Okay, so if Verizon is at +1, your Draco Meteor will do what, 35-40% to Virizion, and it's pretty sad, although obviously this guy has no recovery. I mean, it loves Synthesis and Chica Drain, but come on now. Alright, so let's see. No, this has to be Scarf Ratch though. And this is Rocks. I mean, it could be Scarf Rocks, but let's say it's Rocks Exca. But then yeah, it's Rock Spin, it's a bit. Nah. Rock Spin Exca is very, very, very not good, and especially on this. Like, you really need damage. So it has to be Rock Rachi. It could be Scarf Rocks, but I'm not sure it is. I think you can get away with zero Scarf if you have like Body Slam Rachi plus T-Wave Crest, which could very well be the case here. I will delete. Do you lead Virizion here? Because technically, Hippodon is the optimal lead, right? It's the usual hyper off versus hyper offense. You want stand up as soon as possible, and it also does okay into a lot of these. Like, unless your opponent leads Virizion, lead Hippo is totally fine. And there's also Mew. Mew, we haven't seen a Mew in a while, but usually they're like Taunt, Wisp, Beam, cover or Psychic cover Beam, but I think you really need Beam nowadays. Psychic was more relevant in at meta with like a lot of substitute Keldeo. Uh, but if you have Wisp Beam, that's fine. Right. Do you lead this Mew? No, obviously, there's all Corona here. You cannot do that. You do have a Heatran though, so that's probably fine. I will lead Hippodon. And for Eeveon, I mean, you can lead Viridian, but that's a bit of a disaster, no? I think you just lead Rachi. Let's see, though. Let's see. This is... anything could happen, really. Hippodon, okay. Dragonite. Okay, it's Eeveon. Eeveon has like 80% Dragonite usage. This guy loves this one. And also it's Eeveon, so... Is this Specs Draco Meteor? It sure is possible, though that would be pretty weird with a crest on the team. I think it's just DD. Do you DD Aptor 1? I would. Ah, weakling. Look, 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 look. If you did it up, oh boy, we had a game. Okay, but this is also fine because nothing happened to one. Okay, hard, calm mind. Oh, it's Whirlwind Hippo. Okay, that's pretty good for a Sugarhigh so far. Oh, that's a billion damage. Earthquake did 45%. Oh, it's Sun Forcing Weatherless because he just knows that you're going to load Sand. Okay, that's okay. Hard Spin, Slack Off. Now what? Swords Dance. Very aggressive by Eeveon. Rocks go up. Okay, I played versus Eeveon with a team like well, it wasn't exactly this, but it was weatherless. Maybe it wasn't even weatherless, but he had an Excadrill there, and it really needed to spin, and it was Shukaberry. It turned out to be Shukaberry, and at this point with this sequence, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, okay, this is definitely Shukaberry Excadrill, right? And that's kind of strong here because now you're going to tank like Hippodon's Earthquake will do 55%. Okay, spin. I'm not sure if I agree with this. I think Airquaking was much stronger. Okay, that's good damage. Alright, at least you have prevented the rocks for the time being. They could still come up, but that's okay. Right, do you attack? I think you do. Oh yeah, nice. HPIs did. That's a lot of damage. 51%? Cress. Okay, the problem for Evian here is that as soon as it Podon comes out, you have to attack it like immediately, which is kind of annoying. Okay, good double. Is it? Viridian does not want it KO this guy with Focus Blast. And it's not even close, actually. And it's quite sad because it's 120 base power stab move, but this guy has 90 base special attack, so it's. Yeah. It do be like that. And you also cannot really boost up on these with unreveal moves. You just die to Gyro Ball. Oh, um, Evian doesn't care, and Sugar Eye may not have a move to hit Virizion. If you don't have Gyro or T-Wave, it's... Yeah, probably does decent damage, but it's not that good. Okay, this is Scarfracci, took too much from this fire move. Ferro, you turn Volk? No, T-Knight. It's leftovers, okay. But now what? Wisp, right? I mean, this has to be Wisp Mew. And Outrage will not kill, right? not even close. Oh, just beam, sure. Guaranteed revenge kill, actually, probably better than risking to miss Wisp. I'm going to assume this is Scarf Escadrille at this point. Saving the Mew. Mm, yeah, that's okay. It doesn't probably matter, but Mew has more chances to recover, at least. Oh, it's not Scarf Escadrille, and that just did a million damage. Okay. Right, let's do some. Let's math a little bit. Do you need to? No, just start Latios. If your opponent ices, I mean, you can just spam recover on it. Okay, so ice does around 50%. So you switch in your Latios with a 75. Goes 25 minus sun 19. You recover your opponent ices again. You go to 13. But that also costed your opponent 32% health. Yeah, you should probably go Latios and spam recover. Alternatively, you can go Mew and toss it. Or I will keep the Excadrill personally. It's it's pretty okay into Cress. You're kind of low, so maybe it doesn't really matter. Let's see what. Nah, yeah, I agree with this. I would just go Latios and oh, nasty crit, 18% heal. That's a lot. It's still okay. You still recover here. You keep recovering. It only costs you. Oh wait, no. Eeveon completely flips the interaction and Calm Minds. Okay. Your fire move, so you're going to do 29%. Oh man. And you mega die, obviously. Okay. Right, so Escadrille is not Scarf. Mew is not Scarf. Ferrothorn is not Scarf. Is it Scarfitran? Is it not Scarfitran? And if it's not, do you just. Okay, Ferrothorn is the good play though. So I don't know if it dies. It might be a roll, but you can switch out now to Mew and force like okay. So if you go instant Mew, you get Giga drained, and I think Sugarhigh is switching. Yeah. Okay, sure. Xcode is fine. Right. Cress. Oh, very nice switch from Sugarhigh. Okay, but I have a formal complaint to file here. Fastest small HP fire Latios. Is this what we want to see? I mean, okay. So you know, I always say I don't care about prep, but there are some people who deserve to get punished in the builder. And there's a certain guy in this game who runs zero Alakazams, and so you can just roll up with this stuff, and you will not get punished. Right, right. Hitron versus Cress, you don't care about the balloon, so you can just stay in and click moves. Oh, you're taunt. Yeah, I know this. How does Eeveon get out of this? If he Lunar Dashes the Viridion, I can see him winning. But I don't know how he can make that happen. Because Trunk can just sit in for forever on this. Okay, you just kill the Volk. Okay, Dragon Pulse. Okay, but this is Taunt Hitran, right? So you have to go Viridion. and double into Cress and hope it works out. I think that's your only out. Rachi. Oh, maybe you are Healing Wish, and so Healing Wish the Viridian. But the problem is, sure, I made the right call and went Ferro, and so I mean, Viridian does not one hit KO Ferro. 77, yeah, look, 77%. And now you get Gyrobolt and die, or Thunderwave and die. Right, so now you go Mew. The reason is that Mew covers everything. If Viridian stays in and attacks, you die, but whatever. If your opponent goes Cress, you can taunt Cress. Yeah, sure, I made the right call here. Very nicely played. And you click taunt, and Cress is... Yeah, no, this game is done now. You just... You can get frozen, I guess, on the turn that taunt ends. That would be the out. I mean, that's game if Eeveon can hit two Focus Blasts, but well, I mean, right. If this beam freezes, then Eeveon can win. If not, then no, because now taunt ends and Mew just taunts again. And now you cannot even freeze anymore. I mean, at least with Virizion here, you can still just Giga Drain, I guess, and Mew will take not that much damage. Nah, it's done. Mew beams again, Etran comes out, and you're dead. Okay, taunt, and it's done. This team was interesting, but it ran into pretty unfortunate matchup. And maybe some people will say that Viridion may not be the right mon, but I liked Viridion, and it was pretty good in this matchup as well. It it did a lot of work actually, surely more than Volcarona. But yeah, this game. So let's right plays were fine from both. I really sure I played very well at the end game with securing tons. I guess the crest to prevent Nardens. Evian. Oh yeah, of course he did the classic Evian thing of not running rocks at all. He does this quite often. I mean, it works for him clearly, so that's fine. So it's a double healing wish team. Yeah, Evian kind of pioneered that with Kong a year and a half ago or so. So he went back to his roots, let's say. Except his targets of choice was, well, Viridion and or Volk and or D-Knight. Okay. Then he had a Shukaberry Sunforce Escadrille with Sword Stance, obviously. Okay. U-turning Wish. Crest was Rocky and Metal Thunder, Steel Beam. Last move, I'm not sure, but I think you go probably Psychic? Just to not mega lose to Kong preview, right? Crest can still kind of 1v1 Kong, but you need Sand Up, I think. Because without you just get healed on by Drain Punch. Like you T-wave that you don't even want to. You Ice Beam Kong for I don't know 20%, then leftovers, then it bulks up like 4 times, then Drain Punches, and you just lose. So I would say it's Psychic last, but it doesn't really matter too much because the idea is like T-Wave and Lunar Dance, right? The other moves are accessories. Although you always need Ice Beam, obviously. Um, Viridian did pull a lot of work actually. It was a pretty dream matchup for Viridian. 5 months slower than it, and non-specs Latios without, or well, at least non-psychic move Latios, so this was nice. Anything else? Place-wise, I think both players. The only thing I'm not convinced about is the Excadrill usage early game. I think if you have Shuka and do this, you probably... Okay, the first Earthquake is okay, because... your Excadrill got pulled in by Whirlwind, so your opponent... Like, you didn't show intention to go Excadrill here, ever. And then you Earthquake here, because your opponent says, probably thinks, oh, I got Excadrill in. Excadrill loses to Hippodon, so I can just click Rocks as my opponent is forced to switch. And even if my opponent goes for a crazy play, you still survive a +2 Earthquake, like as exemplified by this turn. It does around 90%. So even if your opponent goes for an outplay, like here in this situation, you're still fine unless you get Iron Flinch slash crit, but it's very, very greedy and very like aggressive in a poorly planned out way. But obviously you don't know this is Shuka and you have no idea. So the first Earthquake is fine. It's like you're showing that you're not afraid of clicking moves, but also you're like, oh, maybe I can crit, maybe, things go my way. Or maybe Podon could also, I don't know, slack off to scout. Nah, you click either rocks or earthquake here, but 99% of the times they will click rocks in this exact scenario. So I agree with the first earthquake. You definitely spin this turn, yes. You care more about having rocks permanently off. And so you spin, because if your opponent attacks you, then you can Earthquake the Hippo again, and it will be a lot of damage. You can even Iron Head it, actually, because it will be in range of Earthquake plus Iron Head, and you can fish for a flinch. But you really need to spin there. Okay, here though, turn 5 is where you should probably... No, it is Sword Dance, that's fine. And Sugarhigh rocks again. He still doesn't know that this is Shuka, although he may be suspecting of it at this point. And no, but the problem with this interaction is that you don't really know if the opponent could very well just click Whirlwind, just out of spite. Okay, no, you have to spin though. Okay, but here you Iron Head, right? You do 1,000,000 damage. I don't know. I'm not convinced this was the optimal Excalibur versus Hippodon. Actually, what if you SD? Look, here, right? Turn 3, you hard SD on the Hippo. Nothing changes probably, right? Because it goes the same way as like turn 4 and 5 and 6. So yeah, never mind. I feel like there's something wrong with this, but I cannot quite tell you what. I don't know. My gut says this is wrong, but my brain does not follow. So I don't know. I remember Eeveon also mentioning he played it wrong with Excadrill, so I would have to ask him, but I don't know. I agree. There is something that went poorly here, but I cannot quite pinpoint what. Specifically the Excadrill turns. Like the rest was fine. These are good HPIs. It forces your opponent to do something with their Latios. That's not what they want to do, which is, if it's choice, which, I mean, it's If you see this, you can probably. No, it has to be Colbur, right? Because else Kelly or Tita are just win. Mm. Hmm. Yeah, but aside from that early interaction, I think this was very well played. This team is interesting. Would I run this? I would replace Volk. I don't like Volk at all. I think it's a bad one in general. Uh, s- what do you replace it with? Well, you could really put anything in here. There's, I don't know, Lucario. Now, Volk does have some nice traits though. Like it's your best switching into Ferrothorn. Hmm. I don't know. I would have to think about it for a little bit. This team, no, too slow. Like, ah. Right, but still well played by both. Eeveon really got kind of close to winning, despite well the double taunt making Cresselia completely useless, and despite the fact that it's a bit of a weird team. Yeah, that's it. Fun game. See you next time.